Good morning. Good morning. Happy Easter, happy Passover. Believers and skeptics, and everyone in between, you are welcome here. Gay and straight, and everyone in between, you are welcome here. Black, white, young, old, and everyone in between, you are welcome here. People from far and people from near, and friends we haven't yet met, you are welcome here. Those sitting in the pews and those joining us online, you are welcome here. Those who plan on staying and those who are just passing through, you are welcome here. All are welcome here as we struggle to define what we believe and what values will guide our life's journey. All are welcome here as we struggle to live from a place of loving kindness to build a beloved community. All are welcome in this Universalist Unitarian Church of Riverside. Our opening hymn this morning is number 344, A Promise Through the Ages Ring, from the gray hymnal, which is this, but it's also going to be projected up on behind me. Feel free to sing as the Spirit moves you. Please stand in body or spirit and join us in singing hymn 344, A Promise Through the Ages Ring. And I hope you have things springing up in your gardens or in your neighborhood or something. It's beautiful. I know I had some more irises growing, and so I brought that today for us. I love spring. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful time with many, many lessons and metaphors for us. So I thank you for joining us here in person, and I thank those for joining us remotely by Zoom, where we will continue live streaming and posting these services on our YouTube channel for our virtual attendees. So I'm Tinka Friend, a member of the worship committee, and I will be your worship associate today. Other members of the worship committee that make this service possible includes Margaret Johnston, who will be reading this morning's service, Alec Peck, our music coordinator, Adam Wedeking, who monitors our visual and online connections, and Kate Lewicki, who is in charge of our sound system. So we welcome you this morning to join us with an open mind and an open heart and with muted electronic devices, please. So if you haven't turned your phone to off or to silent, please do so. Thank you for joining us here today, and it is a good time to be with you all. May we join together with the miracle that is springtime and enter into life with lightness and joy. May we join with the miracle that is Easter time and enter into life with hope and love. May we join with the miracle that is Passover and enter into life with courage and perseverance. Let us resurrect with Earth Day and spring. Let us resurrect with the Spirit and enter into renewed life as we gather into our time of worship together this morning. Before we move into the service, there are a few announcements that we would like to share. We will mention several websites, email addresses, and phone numbers. At the end of the service, we will leave up a slide with all of this information, and it is available on our website. Sharing joys and concerns is one of the important rituals in our community, and it is an opportunity to share milestones, losses, achievements, and experiences with one another. On the first Sunday of each month, we will hear from those in the sanctuary and then read any joys and concerns which we have received. So this is the book in which you may write your joys or concerns any week that we are here, any Sunday, and write it down. Please put the date so we'll know whether it's been read, already or not. And so write it down. If you want to include your name, please do so. And then on that first Sunday, which is in 2 weeks, those will be read, as well as if you call in and leave it there, you can do that too. For those of you at home, you can send your joys and concerns throughout the month to uuchurchofriverside@gmail.com. Our next Joys and Concerns will be in 2 weeks on May 4th. Now, this is something if you are a UU and have been a UU for a while that you look forward to every year. We are going to be having our annual flower communion in 2 weeks. It's also going to be on that Sunday, May 4th. So join us in our celebration by bringing flowers, especially if you've got some in your garden that you have lovingly tended, or even if you've ignored and they blossomed on their own. So please bring some to share with our community. We will have a ritual that we will participate in that is our flower communion. And if you live in an apartment or you don't happen to have any blooming, which this is the last of mine, so I'm sure in 2 weeks I won't have any in my garden, you can stop, at the store or something and pick up some. If you forget and you show up and you're like, oh no, I didn't bring any, don't worry, because those of us who, Ren and I are going to be doing the service that Sunday. We will have brought some extras, so you can still have a flower to participate in our flower communion. Game night. Game night is held on the second and fourth Thursday at 6 o'clock in the parish hall. There are many games to choose from, and you can bring your favorites from home. The next game night will be this Thursday, April 24th. So come and join the fun. And it really is fun. Usually we've got some little snacks to eat. There's different games. And if you've got some of your favorite games that you like to play, please bring them. Depending on how many people show up, we may all be playing the same game, or we may have two different tables, with because the games sometimes are limited as to how many people can play it, especially a board game. But it's really fun, so come down and join us, and it's a great way for fellowship and to get to know some of us and each other a little better. Board meeting. The monthly board meeting is held on the third Monday at 5:30 in the parish hall. So that means tomorrow, all members are invited to attend, and the next meeting will be tomorrow at 5:30 in the parish hall, which is the room here. Oh, it says parish hall. Okay, in the annex. Yes, it does there. Here it doesn't. All right. Family barbecue. That's not going to be on your slide, but I wanted to make sure that everyone knew. Our May Family Barbecue fundraiser is on Saturday, May 17th. Bring your whole family. It's kind of like like your Memorial Day barbecue coming out. Well, we're doing it on May 17th, so people will have Memorial Day to go off and be with family. Invite your friends, bring your family, invite your friends. It is a fundraiser, so tickets are $25, or sweat equity, which means you're helping to do all the work, the setup, the takedown, and things like that. Children 6 to 12 are $12. Children under 5 and under, eat for free. It's going to be on the lawn right out here, which is between the church building that you're in and the annex. And vegetarian options are going to be provided. Please purchase your tickets in advance, or at least let us know so that we know how much food to buy. We certainly wouldn't want to overdo and then have that food go to waste. And also we want to make sure that we have enough food, because we'd hate to have a whole bunch of people and there's not enough food. The yard sale, our spring yard sale has been postponed until the first weekend. Oh. Okay, I thought it was going to be on the 30th and the 31st. It's been changed? Okay, sorry, didn't know that. So it's postponed until the first weekend in June, the 6th and the 7th. Oh, here it says. Yes, there is a change from what was announced last week. We will be setting up on Thursday, June 5th, and Kate is the one who kind of sets all this up and everything, and she always needs help on that Thursday. Is it during the day that you need help? So if you are available during the day, so that would be on Thursday the 5th, please come down and, even if it's only like for a half an hour or an hour, whatever will really help to set everything up. And then please bring your donations. If you are donating to the yard sale, bring your donations in by the end of May. Do we have a social justice announcement? Okay. The Social and Environmental Justice Committee meeting is not today, even though it says that. It is going to be next week. And you can find the Zoom link and more information on the website under Social and Environmental Justice. And I think there's some pretty major things, right, that we're going to be doing. So definitely come. You don't have to be you don't have to have already been a part of the committee. Anybody can come, show up. And if you would like to join the committee, that definitely. Okay, so I don't need to invite you up, right? Oh, you still do. Okay. Then I'm going to invite Adam Wedeking, who is the chair of the Social and Environmental Justice Committee, to tell us about their current project.
Yeah, I've got a couple of things to talk about. Our Social and Environmental Justice Committee next week, we will be talking to the UCR grads for Palestine. At our last meeting, we were really concerned about the arrest of Mahmoud Khalil, so we were going to talk about their concerns about First Amendment rights on college campuses, and also talk about an event that we are doing with them, hosting for them on the Cop City project that is happening in Atlanta. If you're not familiar with that, it is a project that is tearing down a forest in Atlanta to build a militarized police training city. That in 2023, the UUA passed a action for immediate witness, saying that that is something we need to organize to stop. And so we will be working with the Stop Cop City campaign to be doing an event here with the Riverside UCR Grads for Palestine. So they'll be coming next week to talk about that event and to have a kind of conversation with us about how they're feeling about their own First Amendment rights with everything that's going on, and maybe what we can do to support them. Also, May 3rd, there is, up here on the screen, a May Day march and rally here in Riverside for workers' rights, and all sorts of stuff that kind of, come together on May Day. 10 o'clock, I believe they're meeting right down the street here. Yeah. I believe it's just right here. We will be open for restrooms during the time, so folks have a place to use the restroom. But come on out with your signs and look for our big church banner. We will be out there. And one more announcement. Just recently, the president put out a statement about April being, what does he call it? National Child Abuse Prevention Month. And in this statement, he put in a lot of hurtful and untrue claims about trans children and their families. In response to that, the UUA has put out a statement that I recommend everybody read. It's called Fierce Unshakable Love. You can find it on our church website, uuchurchofriverside.org/justice. Look down on the page for the header. I believe it's Trans People Are Divine. And in there, there's a link to that statement. But in that statement, they make some recommendations. One is to research an organization called Pink Haven and help and donate to them who support transgender families. And they also recommend taking a course called Responding to the Anti-Trans Movement. It is a 3-part course that you can take on your computer. You watch a video and there's some sort of handout information. It's put on by the Transforming Hearts Collective, is a group of UUs who put together training stuff for UUs to learn about trans issues. So I think I've been taking it, and it's a really good course. They've got more deeper work you can do on that page as well. And you can get all those links on the church website. uuchurchofriverside.org/justice is our social justice page, and you get all that information there. Thank you.
Thank you. I know we have some people who are relatively new attending UU churches, so I just want to make a little asterisk, a little footnote. UUA stands for the Unitarian Universalist Association. They are sort of we are all the churches, and we covenant with the UUA, which kind of is sort of the headquarters, I guess you would say. And they're connected with Beacon Press, who does the publishing for different things that we have, the pamphlets and stuff. And so the UUA is in Boston, and so it is the association of all the Unitarian and Universalist churches. in the United States and Canada. And so every year we have a General Assembly in which every church, depending on their size, how many people they send is depend on their size. They get representatives, delegates who go there. And then they bring up these topics and issues and, current events and things that are happening. And so there's a representative, theoretically, from all the UU churches that are there, and they vote on what they want to have all the churches focus on, any changes that may be coming, or anything like that. So they have a list of public witness, what is it called? Action for public witness, and immediate witness. So things that we need to do right away. And so one of these is the COP City. And so all the Unitarian Universalist churches are trying to see what they can do. So that's part of what all of that is about. Okay, now, a lot of things, a lot of announcements, a lot of activities, which is great. So our time together is brief, but it is filled with joy. And in that spirit, I invite you to turn to those around you, to greet them, to welcome them, maybe share your name, and share that joy that always grows here. For those of you on Zoom, you can use the Zoom wave gesture or just wave at the camera. And welcome to all our visitors today, and welcome back to our old friends. We would love to meet you during coffee hour after the service. Okay. Adam, did anybody online wave? I'm sorry? Oh. Marshall, hi, good morning. And a good morning to everyone who is joining us by Zoom. Happy Easter. Okay, to our new guests, we would love to chat with you out in the parish hall, which is the room over there, where you also will find our visitor's book. Is it actually a book or is it an electronic tablet? Oh, both. Okay, both are there. So please leave your name before you leave so that we know you were here, and leave your contact information if you want updates on church events. Instead of the usual short discussion time that we have at the end of the service, Margaret will be hosting some pronoun practice. We had a discussion in our worship committee meeting talking about how difficult it is sometimes for us to remember to use the correct pronouns to show respect for the person that we are talking about. And we said maybe we need to have some practice on that. So for those online, the best way to get added to the mailing list is to email the church office at admin@uuchurchofriverside.org. And now, I invite you to sit back, take a slow, deep breath as we move into our worship hour. You are welcome to read with me the mission statement of our church. Our mission is to foster a diverse religious community that celebrates life, affirms the individual, encourages spiritual growth and open thought, and works to advance social justice and environmental sustainability. And one of the ways that we can affirm the individual is to honor, like I said, their pronoun preferences. So today's sermon was written by Reverend Kimberly DuBois. Reverend Kimberly DuBois is a community minister based in Tacoma Park, Maryland, inspired by an artful and art-filled faith. Describing herself, she says, "I am many things at many times. Professionally, a writer, editor, singer, actor, director, designer, muse, and minister. Having served in a congregation, I am now a community minister working with congregations in the area of arts and worship." Oh, I'd love to have her here. Personally, a queer cisgendered woman who loves art, theater, film, books, television, and music. Spiritually, seeker, a journeyer, a radical universalist with process tendencies, and in the true wrestles with God, meaning a daughter of Israel. My home is Unitarian Universalism. Mentally, I am a deep thinker, a minister, and a chanteuse. For those of you that don't know French, that means a singer. Easter Sunday is revered by Christians as the day when the miracle of resurrection occurred, cementing Jesus as the Messiah. How can we, as UUs, understand such a miracle? How do we hold space for our wisdom gained from personal experience and the teachings of science, alongside the possibility and perhaps the inevitability that we have only imperfect knowledge of the world? We have two lightings of sacred flames. The first is a remembrance candle for the indigenous peoples who continue to cry out for justice and self-determination. We remember that underneath us, literally where you are sitting, is the unceded land of several indigenous peoples, including, but not limited to, the Cahuilla, the Luiseño, and the Cupeño. We light the sacred flame in their remembrance and in recognition of their ongoing struggle for freedom and dignity. Our second sacred flame is our own chalice, the symbol of our faith. We are blessed with this space and opportunity to strive to live out our common principles, to bring justice and equity and compassion into our daily lives, to resist all that threatens the earth and her people, and to be part of a world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. Let these thoughts carry us forth as we journey and worship together. Today's chalice lighting words are, "For holy days on which we recall the old stories," by Dillman Baker Sorrells. For holy days on which we recall the old stories, we light the flame. For Passover, which reminds us of the courage and strength of those seeking freedom in the past, we light the flame. For Easter, which reminds us that love is our greatest challenge, we light the flame. For gathering today in this sacred space, we light the flame. For the opportunity to be together as a community, to remember the past, to plan for our future, to be alive in our present, we light our flame. Our hymn now is number 123, Spirit of Life, from the Gray Hymnal. Feel free to sing as the Spirit moves you. Please stand in body or spirit and join us in singing number 123, Spirit of Life. This portion of our church is to support our beloved historical church. Did I say this portion of our church? This portion of our service is to support our beloved historical church. This can be accomplished in several ways. In addition to the weekly collection, which will be passed around in just a moment, you may also send your checks to the church address, which is shown on behind me. You may contribute by PayPal using the QR code, which is shown up here as well as it's also shown on the church website and in our newsletter. Stater Brothers Market gives our church a rebate on Stater grocery cards, which we will have in church each Sunday. So if you buy a $50 Stater cards, you get to go to Stater Brothers and use that card like a debit card for $50. Or $100, you get your full $100 value of purchase value. But in addition to that, the church receives a percentage of that for free. So it's an easy way for the church to have a little bit of income coming in. So if you shop at a Stater Brothers market, please buy these cards rather than going in and paying cash or writing a check or your own bank's debit card or whatever. And if you don't shop at Stater Brothers, but you have one close by, maybe you could shop there occasionally. So please see Robert Braun, who just came in and just left, so he must be out there. Dinah Rose not here. Kate, are you? No? Okay, so I guess just if you're going to purchase any, Robert, this morning. Please donate as the Spirit moves you by whatever method works best for you. And thank you in advance for your generosity of spirit. To those who give of their time and their talent, thank you for your generous care and attention. And to all of you who are here with us today, thank you for your gift of your presence. It really is valuable to us. Thank you. And for those online who couldn't be here in person, we are grateful for you as well. We express our gratitude for what we have by also remembering those in our community who don't have and are wanting. So with that awareness, whenever we take the collection plate around, a tote bag will also accompany that and be passed around to collect canned goods and hygiene items for our local community. So if you forgot to bring any today, please try to remember next week. So will our ushers now please come forward to receive the collection? I was just reminded before we go on to well, no, let's go ahead with the next hymn. From You I Receive, and that is 402 from the Gray Hymnal. Please feel free, as the Spirit moves you, stand in either body or spirit and join us in singing hymn 402, From You I Receive.
From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive.
Be seated. So if any of you were or are interested in the Epic Creative Group after church, I think it's at 1 o'clock, please come and see me. And today's reflection is entitled Desert Spring by Victoria Safford. So before I read it, can everyone get in a comfortable position? They had no idea where they were going. When they left that night in the dark, without lights, without shoes, without bread, their children smothered against them so they would not make any noise. They had no idea what they were getting into, following this Moses, this wild-eyed one who claimed visions and made promises, but who, after all, could guarantee them nothing except death if they were caught. They had no idea, these slaves, what it would mean, this promise of land, their own country, and life abundant. Of freedom, they knew nothing except what they could taste by living in its opposite, slavery. And that taste became a hunger, and that hunger became insatiable till they were ravenous for freedom, and they went out then. But no one knows to this day whether they were led by Moses or by the outstretched arm and mighty hand of something else, of something eternal, as they would afterwards and always claim, or whether their own human hungry will made them flee that night from Pharaoh. They went into the wilderness, and there they wandered 40 years, which in those days was a lifetime. 40 was a good old age, so many of them died before getting anywhere. And many were born in the desert and grew to adulthood knowing nothing but the journey. Not slavery, not freedom, just the going, day after day. They whined and complained and muttered, and some even mutinied, for they were a stiff-necked and rebellious people. You can read it for yourself. Ungrateful people, even when manna rained down from heaven and quails were sent to feed them, they complained. Unhappy people, longing out loud even for the familiar security of Egypt, of all places, but where at least they knew what to expect, as awful as it was. Impatient people, making cheap little idols and gods of metal to bargain with in secret when the traveling got hard, or merely dull. The days and the months and the years became monotonous. In the springtime, we remember the promised land is not a destination. It is a way of going. The land beyond the Jordan River, that country of freedom and dignity and laughter, you carry it inside of you all the while. It is planted in your mind and your heart already before you ever start out, before it even occurs to you that in order to leave that life in Egypt, that intolerable bondage of that life, what you need to do is to stand up and walk forward. Now we're going to pause for some silent reflection. will hear the gong twice, once to start your reflection and second to come back. I would like to know, not now, I'm just saying, I would like to know what bondage in your life are you thinking that you need to stand up and step forward? I know I had mine. And this leads us into our sermon. So now I would like to introduce Margaret Johnston sharing the reading, Earth Teach Us Resurrection, by Reverend Kimberly DeBus. Again, this is not something that Margaret wrote themselves. This is something that was written and we posted on the UUA website for worship, and something that she chose to read for this day. Margaret?
All stories are true. Some of them even happened. The Gospel of Mark tells us that when the Sabbath was over, Mary Magdalene and Mary, the mother of James, and Salome brought spices so that they might go and anoint him. And very early on the first day of the week, when the sun had risen, they went to the tomb. They had been saying to one another, "Who will roll away the stone for us from the entrance to the tomb?" When they looked up, they saw that the stone, which was very large, had already been rolled back. As they entered the tomb, they saw a young man dressed in a white robe sitting on the right side, and they were alarmed. But he said to them, "Do not be alarmed. You are looking for Jesus of Nazareth, who was crucified. He has been raised. He is not here." He is not here. Now, the story of Easter may be one of the most difficult in all of the world's religions for Unitarian Universalists. It begs us to set aside our propensity for reason and fact, our disbelief of the supernatural, our suspicion of anything called a miracle. Easter asks us to consider, for one day, the idea that a man who died at the hands of a threatened political and religious establishment not only rose from the dead 3 days after he was declared dead, but that the large stone that closed off his tomb was rolled away so that he could walk out and be with his followers a little while longer. And that there was a point to it all. Unitarian Universalists bump up against this story a lot. It seems fantastical and unbelievable, and to some, just made up in order to lend credence to a tiny Jesus movement that eventually became the religion we know as Christianity. Many Unitarian Universalists among us believe that Jesus was an incredible teacher and perhaps prophet, and some of us even see a level of divinity in the person of Jesus. And yes, there are some among us who do believe, as our Unitarian and Universalist forebears did, that Jesus was the Christ, the Messiah. But I don't think we struggle with the entrance into Jerusalem or tossing the money changers out of the temple. We like that bit. We don't wrestle at all with the idea that Jesus maybe knew this could be dangerous. And we understand the events that led to the final meal, the betrayal, the arrest, and the shuffling through the justice system up to the crucifixion. All of that makes sense. It's not miraculous. It's what happens all too often to those who tell truth to power. Where we struggle is on the third day, at the empty tomb. How do we explain this except as a miracle? And if we do accept it as a miracle, are we sacrificing part of what makes us Unitarian Universalists in the first place? Our daring to question, our cherishing of doubt, our openness to many ideas? What happens when we say, yes, there is a kind of miracle in the universe that we call resurrection? What happens in Unitarian Universalist fashion is that we look for it elsewhere, and we find it, as the Transcendentalists taught us, in nature. Now, it's not easy to see with the ever-quickening damage to our Earth by climate change. The predictions are dire, and by all accounts, the claim, there is still time, is in danger of not being true. We mourn those who have already been lost to extreme heat waves, to floods, hurricanes, mudslides, and blizzards, to hunger, to drought, to disease. We mourn those other earthlings, the animals who have been lost to dramatic changes to their ecosystems, those who have become extinct. We mourn the plants and green spaces that have died. We mourn, and we can only do so much to restore balance, to create sustainability. And we can't just mourn. As Swedish teen Greta Thunberg told a room full of adults gathered for the United Nations Climate Change Conference, adults keep saying, we owe it to the young people to give them hope. But I don't want your hope. I don't want you to feel hopeful. I want you to panic. I want you to feel the fear that I feel every day, and then I want you to act. I want you to act as if your house is on fire, because it is. We need a miracle. We need a resurrection. And now we're back to our problem, right? How can we understand the miracle of resurrection when it seems contrary to everything science tells us about the process of life? How can we understand the miracle of resurrection when it seems like a story that was crafted across a century to keep a singular ministry alive? How can we understand the miracle of resurrection when we are watching this planet become increasingly unable to sustain life? We need a miracle. We need a resurrection. Earth needs a resurrection. Back in 1970, Senator Gaylord Nelson of Minnesota had an idea, as he writes in Beyond Earth Day, Fulfilling the Promise. I was satisfied that if we could tap into the environmental concerns of the general public, we could generate a demonstration that would force this issue onto the national political agenda. The idea of Earth Day began as a national teach-in on the environment. By raising public awareness of air and water pollution, Nelson hoped to bring environmental causes to the national spotlight. And it was effective. Protecting the environment quickly became a national priority. Since 1970, Earth Day celebrations have grown, but it's never been about the celebrations. As Nelson writes, contrary to what some Earth Day critics might say, my thinking was not that a one-day demonstration would convince people of the need to protect the environment. I envisioned a continuing national drive to clean up our environment and set new priorities for a livable America. Earth Day was to be the catalyst. It was not even founded to be a day of penance for all the bad things we've done to Earth. It was, as Nelson wrote, founded on a spirit of desire and a sense of duty as a means to an end, not as an end itself. For the ensuing 55 years, we humans have been simultaneously more and more conscious of our connection and relationship to the Earth, and more careless about our use of natural resources, treatment of the air and water, and global climate changes due to our influence. As Greta says, our house is on fire. We need a miracle bigger than Earth Day. We need a resurrection. And this is where we turn again to the earth to teach us. The earth teaches us stillness, but not the kind of stillness that makes us sit back and wait, because the truth is, the planet will exist long after life as we know it ceases to exist. The earth teaches us to be still and not try to overpower the earth with fracking or clear cutting or filling the air with poisons. The earth teaches us courage, courage to be the first seed to fly off the dandelion, courage to be the first bird to fly out of the nest, courage to not just say, we should do something about it, but to actually do something about it. The earth teaches us caring, that we are not an alien species put on this planet in order to use it up, but rather that we are earthlings ourselves, caring for the earth that we belong to, caring for the interdependent web of existence, caring that the circle of life we are part of continues through birth, life, death, and rebirth. But mostly, the earth teaches us how connected we really are and how much we need one another, what we might call a network of mutuality. Consider the story of Mount St. Helens in the Pacific Northwest. In May of 1980, this mountain volcano exploded in what might be the most costly volcanic eruption in US history. 57 lives lost, millions of fish, hundreds of other animals and plant species destroyed. Nearly 250 square miles of land turned from lush green canopy to a landscape that President Carter once said looked like the moon. Here, projected on the screen, are false color images of the volcano and the surrounding area. In red is the tree canopy. In gray is the rock and eventual ash. The white on the left is the snow cap on the mountain. On the left is before the explosion, covered in forest, which is red in this image. On the right is after the explosion, where significant acreage was covered in ash, trees felled or burned by heat. Thanks to an environmentally friendly Congress, Mount St. Helens was turned into a 110,000-acre federal reserve, and scientists have been watching and not meddling ever since. What they have seen is a wonderful and surprising resurrection of this utterly destroyed landscape. Wonderful in that they are learning about the effects of ash on soil ecosystems, watching pioneer species of plants and animals reshape the ecosystem, seeing the tree canopies begin to form and the lakes begin to sustain life again. Surprising in that it's not happening in the order they anticipated, which has led to nearly 45 years of re-examining what we know about the earth. But this didn't happen by chance. It took pocket gophers to bring fresh soil up from under the lava and ash. It took pioneer species like lupins and lilies that grow in carbon-heavy soil. It took birds carrying and dropping seeds. It took biota in the lakes to clean and reoxygenate them so that other life could return. Here, if we could please have the next slide, is the third image in the series. See the tremendous rebounding of the forest, the canopy again covering the mountain once choked in ash. Now, to someone who hasn't seen a picture of Mount St. Helens in a while, the difference between May 1980 and 2009 seems like a miracle. And in many ways, it is. This place was, for all intents and purposes, dead. And yet, it rose, thanks to a natural network of mutuality. There was a miracle, a resurrection. But this is just one story, one that we may not be able to tell for much longer if we forget that our house is on fire. And so we must tell stories of resurrection to remind us that there is more time if we don't sit back and let it happen, but instead engage in networks of mutuality we see, not only for the work of sustaining life on this planet, but also the work of sustaining individual lives. We see resurrection in the reviving breath of a patient after being saved from certain death by emergency room doctors. We see resurrection in the determined look of an addict who, after hitting rock bottom, gets clean and becomes a counselor herself. We see resurrection in the gentleness of a former gang member who comes out of prison to prevent other young people from following his broken road. We see resurrection in the relieved smiles of an immigrant who is reunited with their family. We see resurrection when we stop talking and start actively caring for and conserving our planet. Enough is enough. We see it in the jubilation of a small group of citizens or a small human who sees a wrong, sets out to change the world, and succeeds. But the miracle is not just the moment breath comes back, or a person appears, or a bird drops a seed. It's about the whole network of mutuality, the doctors, the teachers and role models, and birds and dandelion seeds, and scientists and organizers and prophets and senators from Minnesota. In the Gospel of Mark, where we began, the miracle of resurrection only starts in the empty tomb. But that's not the whole story. It's about the women who saw the tomb empty, and the man who told them Jesus was raised, and the disciples who, one by one, heard the news from these women, including Thomas with his need for proof. It's about the people who knew that this radical message that their teacher preached had to live on. It's about the folks who lived out that radical message and cared for the poor and sick in his memory. And it's about the people who understood the liberating power of this radical, freeing, healing message and shared it. And it's about those who found and continue to find hope in the simple proposition that we do unto others as we would have them do unto us. And while the gospel points to this one moment in this one time 2,000 years ago, it also tells us that a miracle of resurrection can happen for every one of us, happening one seed, one bird, one doctor, one court, one hand, one welcome, one protest at a time. Blessed be.
Thank you, Margaret. Our closing hymn is 124, Be That Guide, in the Gray Hymnal. Feel free to sing as the Spirit moves you. Please stand in body or spirit and join us in singing hymn 124, Be That Guide. Oh, sorry, it's been changed. It is number 270 in the Gray Hymnal, O Day of Light and Gladness.
Day of light and gladness, of prophecy and song, what thoughts within us waken, what hallowed memories throng. The soul's horizon widens, past, present, future blend, and rises on our vision the life that has no end. Earth feels the seasons' joyance from mountain range to sea. The tides of life are flowing, fresh, manifold, and free. In valley and on upland, from forest pathways dim, all nature lifts in chorus the resurrection hymn. O dawn of life eternal, to thee our hearts upraise. The Easter song of gladness, the Passover of praise. Thine are the many mansions, the dead die not to thee, who fillest from thy fullness time and eternity.
Please be seated. Our closing words are by Alex Holt, and indeed, they're titled Closing Words for Easter. For all of those who celebrate the resurrection of Jesus, may this day be another affirmation of divine love and promise. For all those who see the eternal story of new spring and life beginning anew, may you breathe deeply of a season of promise and hope. For all who are experiencing despair or hopelessness this Easter, may you find in the darkness or depression a doorway to light and warmth that offers you freedom. For all of us, together we can do what no one isolated person can do. Rolling the heavy stone aside reminds us we are far more powerful than we ever could be on our own. Our offering of strong hands to help are prayers made real. Let us begin again to love. Namaste, amen, and blessed be. And thank you, Margaret, for sharing your valuable time and the reading with us this morning. It is sincerely appreciated, and we look forward to seeing you here again. Thank you for this time together. And if anything came up for you during the service, if it touched you in any way or anything, and you want to share that when we have our coffee hour, please do. But now we're going to have the 10 minutes to learn about and practice good pronoun usage as a way of putting our principles and our actions into value. Our principles, the first one, which is the inherent worth and dignity of each person. And part of that, part of being able to show that and demonstrate that is to honor the preferred preferences of each person, even if it's difficult for us. So please be aware this will not, so we're closing, this will not be included in the video that is posted, but it is open to both in-person and online participants. For the rest of you, if you don't wish to participate or practice or go forward with this, you are now welcome to adjourn to the parish hall.